Joining us on the Easter Automotive Group hotline is the head coach, App State Mountaineer football. He is Shawn Clark. How's it going, Coach?
It's going great, guys. Appreciate having me on the show. I always look forward to talking to you guys, and especially on a big week. We're traveling on Chapel Hill this week for a big in-state game.
Two big weeks, really. That's why we love catching up with you, but I'm really fascinated by your next 2 weeks. I know you're not thinking about ECU after the fact, but Giglio and I are very much on record that we love these games. We love when App and Carolina, App, ECU State all play each other. And I'm sure the team also kind of feeds off this stuff.
At the risk of kissing up, too. Like, I'm on the record that App State and ECU should be in the ACC. I want to see us all the time, man.
All the time. So I'm guessing that energy feeds into the players, especially after what happened last year with Carolina and App State.
No, that question. I've been a big proponent of this the whole time, to play in-state schools in your non-conference games. And our first 3 games are all against in-state opponents. We play Gardner-Webb, then we go to Chapel Hill and come back here versus East Carolina. It's great for college football. It's great for the state of North Carolina. And we can keep our money right here in the state. And you go back to when we played East Carolina and Charlotte, and there was roughly 40,000 people there on a Thursday night on ESPN. And we put on a fantastic show last year with the shootout versus North Carolina. And that's what college sports is about. And I think the Sun Belt and App State have hit it right on the head. You know, this past week we had 36,000 people. We had the most fans of anybody in the Sun Belt. And we expect in 2 weeks from now to set an all-time attendance record here at the Rock versus East Carolina.
I don't think you planned on Joey Aguilar coming in and throwing 4 touchdown passes in the win over Gardner-Webb, Coach, but did you find something there?
Well, you know, it was a tough – we wanted to make it a true competition all the way back since January, and we were very truthful with both quarterbacks, you know, what was going to take to win the starting job. And that was be able to take our offense down the field, eliminate turnovers, and score touchdowns in the red zone. And it was a very close battle all the way through. Some coaches were going to lean in one way or the other. And excuse me, that's the great part about being the head football coach. You have 51% of the votes. And we all knew what kind of arm talent Ryan and Joey have. And then, you know, when it was unfortunate because Ryan was 7 for 11 when he hurt his finger. And he hurt his finger on the first drive and continued to battle through it. Then Joey came in, and his first play at App State's a 45, 50-yard bomb down the field for a touchdown. So, you know, it's Joey is that California kid who reminds me a lot of like the Brett Favre, just go back and sling it and see what happens. So he has a lot of confidence in himself and his arm strength, and I think that was evident when we played Gardner-Webb this past Saturday.
Shawn Clark joining us, head coach, App State, here on Ovies and Giglio on the Easter Automotive Group hotline. I did want to go back to a bigger picture question about App State and what you know about that program and how fans and the school itself feel about the program and where they should be. Giglio and I talk about the standard being the standard, and it's all various levels. App State has its own standard. So, you know, with the excitement of last year, because you had an incredible September, people might not have realized, I know you know this, but people might not have realized how the rest of the season went. And that's not to what App State has been used to in the past. So how did you kind of reassess this offseason and how you wanted to get just back to what you know App State is capable of?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I played here from 94 to 98 and came back here in 2016. And there was we had a great run from 16 to, you know, all the way through 22. We were 10-2 in 2022 and lost in the championship game. You thought the whole world was going to erupt when we win a championship. But, you know, we enter a new conference now. When you look at the Sun Belt, how it's evolved and the strength of schedule we have with Marshall, Southern Miss, Old Dominion, those teams, James Madison coming in, it's a tough conference. I would put our conference from top to bottom versus anybody in the country. And now with realignment, I think the Sun Belt's in the top 4 of all college football. So we weren't and you mentioned last year, you know, September was a whirlwind. I really don't remember much of it because of the highs and lows it was. And but then, you know, we're dealing with 18 and 20-year-old kids. And to have that roller coaster ride there on from North Carolina to going to College Station and beating the number 6 ranked team in the country at the time. And then we have a flat tire on the airplane coming back. And we don't get into Boone till almost noon on Sunday.
Right.
And then you have College Game Day here for the first time in the history of the program, and that was a big event for our town. And you know, it's we had over $580 million of unpaid advertisement for our university and for our athletic department, and enrollments went up as far as applications were up 25%. So you can't tell me that college football doesn't matter.
Right.
And then we go to James Madison, and we're up 24-7 at halftime, and them getting beat at the very end. And our players, it's all, I have to get things corrected. And we did that. And we went a total reset of the program. It wasn't a rebuild. It's not a reload. We had to reset it. And that's what we did. We brought some new coaches in. The guys that had been there before, Coach Ponce came in. Coach Barbay went to Mississippi State. We brought back Coach Ponce from the University of Miami. Scott Sloan came back to lead our defense. And Matt Greenhall, who had been before as an assistant when I was here, is leading our strength conditioning. So we have all the right pieces in place to have a great season. I know our kids are looking forward to this weekend, and it's going to be a great 2023 season for App State.
We're guaranteed 124 points again, right? That's how it works.
Yes, that's how it always works. You know, you're down 21 in the fourth, and you score 40, and have a chance to win it. And I look back then, I caught a lot of grief about going for 2 for the win. But anytime I never look back on that. I mean, that was the right call. Man, I was going to give our players the best chance to be successful and end the game right then. And then we kick it onside, they go back and run for a touchdown, and we go 3 plays, 80 yards, and go for 2 for ties. So, but that was a big time. That was a big time game, and I'm glad I was part of it.
Speaking of lack of defense around here, the concern has been about North Carolina improving their defense. We saw glimpses of that against South Carolina. When you've been preparing for this game, what do you see different about this Tar Heels defense versus what you saw last year?
To me, it's the best team Coach Brown has had since he's been back in 2019.
All right.
And that's not coach talk. That's real talk. And you look at, South Carolina won a lot of football games last year, and they gave up 9 sacks. And when it was all said and done, they were -2 yards rushing. And you look at Rucker, number 25, he's a little undersized, but man, he reminds me of like a Dexter Coakley's back here at App State back in the days. The guys that, man, wow, you have to account for him every single play. And they're very senior heavy on both sides of the football with their grad transfers, people who've graduated and working on a master's there at Carolina. So we have our work cut out for us. We know our players know we have to play our very best, have a chance to win. But it's an opportunity we have to go down there, put our program again on the national stage on the ACC network and play in one of the greatest venues of all college football.
Last year's game, you look back at it and you go, well, Drake May, you saw him against Florida A&M, but you didn't know all of the things about what he was going to be. Now you have a full year of tape on him. What kind of stands out to you about Drake May? And are you slightly surprised people aren't talking about him as the number 1 overall pick in the draft? Like, what else does he have to do to prove to people that?
No, I'm very surprised. I had a chance to watch Drake throughout high school at Myers Park, and I thought North Carolina got a steal with him at Carolina. But the one thing we didn't know about Drake last year was how good of a runner he was. We knew he had the arm strength, but there were several times in our game it was 3rd and long, and we're thinking it's definitely going to be a pass, and it's a quarterback draw for 12 or 14 yards. So when you watch the tape, he's really improved. Chip Lindsey's done a great job with him, helping him develop more than what he has, and in my opinion, he's a first round draft pick and a Heisman Trophy candidate. I mean, you look at his resume, what he's done since he's been there, and a lot of credit goes to that kid for the way he's worked and put his team first and give them a chance to win week in and week out.
Shawn, when you think about college football and where it's going, and we talk a lot here in the Triangle about NIL and getting players out of the portal and trying to help your team, how has that changed for you at App State, where you guys depend on identifying the right players out of high school, developing them, and getting them a little bit older, and then they know exactly what your system is and they know your standards. So how have things changed for you now as you head into your 4th full-time year?
Well, I wasn't a big proponent at first. I just thought for our culture we have in our program here that we want to develop high school kids, and their 2nd, 3rd, 4th year going to be great contributors for our program. But I found out very quick that that's not the case anymore. We're a living example. This past year we lost one of our best players on defense. Jalen McLeod goes to Auburn, and our backup center goes to Oklahoma. So we have great players here. It's a new age of college football. It's win now or else. As far as that goes, I wouldn't say pressure, but the expectation, especially here, that an 8-4 season won't be good enough. So you have to. I talked to Eli Drinkwitz one day, and we were discussing the new age of college football. Every year is a 12-round battle. It's a 12-round fight, and you just hope to be in the ring the next year to compete again. So we're going to take it 1 year at a time. And if we have to go in the portal and get players, we're going to do that. And we did this year on defense. We had to establish some depth, and we went there and got Sean Collins from Rutgers and Michael Fletcher from Michigan State, and several players, other players as well. But you have to do it, and if you don't, you're going to get left behind.
You got to. I was going to say there's events too. You talk about game day. I'm pretty sure there was a pretty big country music star that showed up for game day for y'all, right?
Yeah, not bad. Everybody had Luke Combs.
Luke Combs knows a few.
Don't make me do this to Coach.
I'm not going to do it. I'm just saying that.
I can't control myself when
country.
It comes to
we saw Scotty McCreery show up for state for some Pack of Wolves stuff, right?
Yes.
All right. We saw Eric Church, which touchy subject, and Luke Combs. We all for game day. I mean, this is kind of like where you are right now. It's almost like you have to do some entertainment to bring that money in too. I'm guessing App State can bring some money in with a Luke Combs show, right?
We can, and we have. Luke Combs played here in 21, opened his first tour of his touring season, if you will, and I think we had 40-some thousand people here. So, Luke's a great friend of the program. We became friends probably the last year and a half, 2 years, and he comes back more often than what people know of. He's kind of discreet when he comes to town, and he'll slide on the field or up in the box, and he wants to come in and watch a great college football game, and he might go to a few of his local places where he first started,
right?
Do a pop-up show and get out of town. So we're very proud of Luke Combs and everything he does. And it's great, too, because whenever he does shows, if you look at he has an App State T-shirt on or App State hat when he was in Charlotte. So it's big for our university. There's a lot of fans that love him because of the way he represents our university.
You had a good chunk of fans in Kenan Stadium the last time you guys were there. You expect, and then this game sold out, so you got to be expecting some black and gold in the stands, right?
I do. We have a very passionate fan base, and we travel very well. And I think it's one good thing when you play in-state schools that App Nation will show up. And no matter if we go to NC State or East Carolina or North Carolina, our fans are going to show up. If you look back, we played Charlotte. I think it was 2018 in Charlotte, and we had more fans than Charlotte did. So that's one good thing when people want to play us. They know we're going to bring fans into their stadium and really support the black and gold.
Is that what you were talking to Drinkwitz about? The last time App State was in that building?
Might have.
We miss Drink around here. Good people. Shawn Clark, App State head coach. We appreciate the time. Have fun in Chapel Hill. We expect points, and it'll be a good time.
Guys, I appreciate having me on your show. Always look forward to this, and go App.